Dry suit season is upon us. Where I'm sitting right now at this lake, it is blowing at 15. It is 50 degrees out. The water temperature is still pretty high. It's still in the high 70s to 80s. But it's time for me to start thinking about putting this dry suit on. I posted a video, I think a couple years ago, called Dressing for Paddling, and a link to it is right up here. This is going to be Dressing for Paddling 2. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to get into my dry suit today, but I've had a number of people ask questions about what I wear under my dry suit and my booties and my pogies and all that stuff. So I want to go into a little bit more detail about cold weather and what I wear when I'm paddling. There is no reason for you to stop paddling when it gets cold out. So let's start with the base layers that I wear. Look at this ball of black mass in front of me. Under my dry suit, I wear a couple of different layers. On the top, I wear either this thin layer when it's shoulder season like this. This is very thin, but wicks moisture really well. Or I'll wear, when it gets really cold, I'll wear this top, which is a mid-weight performance base layer. So it's kind of smooth, it wicks moisture well. It doesn't have a zipper, and so a lot of the times when I'm hiking, I like a zipper to vent heat, but A, I can't get to that zipper in a dry suit, and B, I don't want the higher collar, and I don't want the metal underneath the dry suit. So very simple options for me underneath: mid-weight base layer or very lightweight on the shoulder seasons. And then on the bottoms, I play with those a little bit more. And so today what I'm going to wear paddling, forgive all this black, it's hard to tell what's what. This is a pair of Patagonia winter weight running tights. I don't think they make them anymore, but they probably make something similar. This has a little bit of a face to it, so it's got a little bit of wind protection. And this is actually what I'm going to wear today. Today it's blowing at 10 to 15 and it's 55 degrees out. And so it's just enough to take the edge off. If it gets wet when I'm getting in the water, it'll dry relatively quickly. And it's tight fitting, so it doesn't get in the way in the cockpit. But I generally don't wear this under my dry suit because it's too warm under my dry suit. Under my dry suit, I will wear either a lightweight pair of performance base layers. These are really not adding much warmth. They're very thin. They do wick moisture. They're a next to skin layer. And then when it really gets cold, I wear a mid-weight pair of base layers underneath them. So this is a little bit thicker, still wicks moisture well. You could do merino wool. Merino wool makes me itch, so I prefer to do the synthetics. But these are really nice. They've got a really nice hand feel. You can't quite see through them. The other ones, if you stretch them, you can see through them. They're that thin. The dry suit, it's important to understand that it doesn't on its own add any warmth, but because it's waterproof, with gaskets at the wrists and the neck, it traps a lot of heat. So if you're wearing too many layers, you'll get warm really quickly. Today, in this weather, I'm not going to put the dry suit on yet. It's not quite cold enough for it. So what I wear is that Patagonia running tight. I'll probably just wear this shirt with a rain shell jacket on top of it. I've moved away from paddling jackets, and I've gone to just using the shell jackets that I hike in. They're waterproof, they're windproof, they're awesome. They're really wonderful. And so I really, really enjoy that. So that's what I wear under my dry suit. Let's talk about booties and pogie. Okay, so this is my bag of gloves. Gloves for the sun, which I should really use more often. And I have this pair of gloves. These are, who makes these? Arctic somebody. Arctic glacier gloves. Big, thick rubber. Let's grab the other one. And these feel really nice when you put them on. And they've got a Velcro wrist thing. And they're super warm. But they are impossible to do anything with your fingers. This is like, I don't know how much neoprene around your fingers. It is impossible to do anything with your fingers. So and then it's even hard to get, once they get a little damp on the inside, which invariably they do, it's really hard to get the second one on. And so I struggled with these for years, and then someone showed me Pogies. And so this is a Pogie. This is, I think, the NRS Mamba. These are not as popular as they used to be. They are hard to find. And the way that this works is that they're essentially a mitten. So your hand goes in here like this, and then there's a Velcro opening that opens the whole thing up. There's my hand, and there's an opening on each side because the paddle blade, the shaft, goes right inside there. And so the nice thing about this is that I have direct contact to the paddle, but my hand is protected from wind and rain and snow. But if I need to use my hands, I can pull my hand right out and do whatever I need to do, and then I can slide my hand back in there. And if I don't want to use them for a little while, I can just slide them to the middle on the shaft. So I am a huge fan of Pogies. They are a little bit old school. They are harder to find these days. But I highly recommend giving them a try. And I think these are designed so that they can fold up so that they don't take up as much space. They don't come down your wrist quite as much. They've got little snaps. So they're a little bit smaller, but I generally use them the big way. Huge fan of Pogies. And as I said, getting harder to find, not as many people use them. The booties that I use are, these are Sea to Summit. I've used Kokatats. I've used NRS. All of them are designed for whitewater paddling. And I like them because there's very little sole to them. And what is really nice, or what I like about them, is that I can sort of wrap my toes around the foot pegs. And these offer a little bit of foot protection, but still give me that freedom of movement that I really like. And like paddling in sandals, I know people that paddle in like sports sandals, the bottom of the sandal sits on the hull of the boat and your foot tends to hang in the straps. And I don't like that. I like my heels on the very bottom of the boat. And so you could do taller ones, but I tend to do these because my dry suit, I wear these all summer. And then when I put on my dry suit has socks. And so they offer some protection for the socks, but I'm not married to these. These are getting pretty old and need to get replaced, and I need to start the process of finding a new booty. Which brings me to one other thing about dry suits. Well, I'm back over here where I started. Let me grab my dry suit out of here. If you're gonna buy a dry suit, which is a lot of money, spend a little bit more and get dry suits with socks. Right? This will keep your feet dry, and it's not that much more. You're already in for a fair amount of money, but keeping your feet dry is really nice. So in the summer, I'm just wearing my booties and bare feet. I get wet, but it's okay. They work like a wetsuit, so they fill with water. They keep my feet warm. Yeah, I'm wet, and I'm wet all day long, but it's the nature of the beast. And here in Central North Carolina, in the summer, it's usually 1,000,000 degrees, so it's not the end of the world. When it starts to get a little bit colder, right as soon as I put on my dry suit, I'll have my dry suit socks on. Well, I'll have the whole dry suit on, but they have socks. And I'll wear a thin sports sock like this. Just a little bit of warmth, not a whole lot. The inside of the booty will get wet, but the dry suit will keep my feet and my socks dry. Then in the winter, I go to a full-blown wool hiking sock. Relatively thick. Offers a fair amount of warmth. It fits under the booty, inside the sock. It is starting to get a little bit tighter, but it's fine. My toes don't go numb or anything like that. Keeps me nice and warm, and again, they're protected from getting wet by the dry suit socks. That's why the dry suit socks are so important. And another nice thing is the relief zipper, so you can go to the bathroom. This you generally have to pay a little extra for. And for women, they do a drop seat. But a lot of women have told me you should get a drop seat and a relief zipper. And I just think it's easier for maintenance during the day. That's what women have told me. It's very nice to have both. And so definitely do the relief zipper. Another thing to think about is where the zipper is. So I like across the chest zipper. I find it a little bit easier to deal with. Some dry suits have the zipper across the back. And I think those are a little bit more difficult. If you have experience with that, leave a comment down below what you prefer, front zip, back zip. I think the idea for moving to the back zip is it gets that zipper off of your chest. I don't really notice it. It's not a big deal for me. But it's about finding what works for you in all of these things. And then periodically, you want to use 303, which is a protectant. This one's getting pretty old. And this is for all of the gaskets. So the neck gasket, the wrist gaskets, it helps keep them supple and happy and wonderful. These gaskets are super nice. And so a couple times a year, at the beginning of the season, the end of the season, I will hit them with 303. And then after salt water, I generally hit them with 303 protectant. Works really well. But I'm not going to use a dry suit today because it's still not quite cold enough. So let's put those clothes on and get on the water. So today I just wore a rain shell jacket, a light top, a quick dry running pant, running tight really. And all this stuff is detailed, all the way that I dress for Alaska, things like that are detailed in my book, Go. You can find that on Amazon or Apple Books. It covers lots of things. It's a trip planning book, but it covers lots of things, but it shows every piece of gear that I brought to Alaska with me and what I wore. You can also watch the Paddle North video. I'll put the link to that up here so you can see paddling in Alaska. The Alaska footage shows up a bunch of places, like here right now. That's Alaska footage. And I hope to be back there next summer. So hit like, hit subscribe to see what's going on. I've got a lot of big, major life changes going on right around the first of the year. So if you want to know what's going on, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me here, follow me on Instagram, adventure.otaku. And it's going to be an interesting year with a lot of outdoor adventures. So hit subscribe, follow me through all of them, and I'll see you outside.